Good evening. We'll be with you on a moment. We're just waiting for more to be let into the meeting. Thank you. So I'm Steve Darling, I'm leader of Torbay Council, and I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to this launch event. It's not really the event that we'd planned for. We had hoped to be up at South Devon College, engaging with those who we'd had conversations with over recent months and feeding back from thinking places of what their proposals were. But clearly in the joys of the pandemic, we're having to do it the usual way that our world is headed at the moment. So we've taken the opportunity to extend the invitation, and I'm pleased that quite more than we'd be able to get in at South Devon College will be with us this evening. So I'd like to thank those who were with us this evening, who gave up their time in recent months, sharing what their hopes and aspirations were for Torbay, but also feeding back from the groups that they're involved with and what they've been able to glean from them about their hopes and fears from their local communities, or equally from their businesses, about what floats the boats for people in Torbay and why people want to visit, and equally why people want to invest, and also what the issues are for younger folk, and what could make them want to stay here and make Torbay their home in the longer term. This is all part of a journey that Torbay Together, the strategic partnership that Torbay has been on in the last 2 to 3 years, where I know in conversation with Jim, we're trying to make sure that people and the community are more at the heart of these partnership, and so this is part of that journey. It's not perfect, but this is a significant step forward, and I hope that you'll be joining us after this meeting to help us drive the change that we all want to see in Torbay. So developing a place, story and brand for Brixham, Paignton and Torquay and Torbay as a whole is extremely important. Now, I know often people say to me, and to be honest, when I'm speaking to a taxi driver and I say I come from Torquay, they blather on about faulty towers, but the vast majority of people say how lovely Torbay is, and to a certain extent, what we need to be developing is making sure that we're saying a similar story to those people and messaging them appropriately. But it isn't just about sending those messages to people, it's also making sure that we, as the people of Torbay, are working as a team and actually championing our area and then being ambassadors for our area. But to me, the thing that is most important is actually our young people, and making sure that our young people are proud of Torbay and use it and seeing it as an inspirational place to come from. Because I know that colleagues from Thinking Places have shared that when they've gone back to some of the young people from other areas of the country that they've worked and talked about what make those places tick, it's made those young people proud in their area and want to stay and build better communities. So we want to be an enabling council that actually empowers our communities, and this is part of that journey, making sure that we're enabling businesses and communities to dream big for Torbay. We're fully behind this place-led approach, but we need everyone who's here tonight and reaching out to many more to reach out and make sure that you're part of the solution. Particularly post-pandemic, it's important that we're putting our best foot forward and getting greater pride in our towns and collaborating together to drive the positive change that we all want to see for Torbay. I'm delighted that we've had a number of colleagues who'll be joining us this evening who'll be sharing their stories around Torbay, that are truly inspirational. It's so important that we're telling and selling our stories for Torbay. So see this evening as a call to action and make sure that you're part of actually driving the positive way that we need to see Torbay being driven in the future. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to our host for the evening, Jim. Over to you, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve, for that really good intro, and welcome everybody. Good evening, everyone, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this virtual launch of a place story for Torbay and for each of our fantastic towns of Brixham, Paignton and Torquay. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jim Parker, I'm chairman of the Torbay Leadership Board, and it's brilliant that so many of you are able to join us at this online launch. As Steve said, it's a shame that we couldn't do the college, but that's where we are, so it's going to be a brilliant event anyway. Your support is going to be very much needed to help deliver each of the place stories. As Steve said, this has already been a fantastic journey, which I truly believe will play a significant part in making Torbay as a whole, and our towns in particular, destination of choices, while enabling us all to become even more proud of what is an extraordinary place. And I keep saying that, and I will forever say that. A few housekeeping rules. If the fire brigade start knocking on your front door, you're in trouble. And if you don't know where the loos are now, you're also in trouble. Today's event is being recorded and will be distributed after the event. And whilst you have a phone and tablets at hand, it would be great if you could show your support by tweeting as we go along using the hashtag Torbay Story. So why are we here today? Well, because each and every one of us has a shared interest in and a passion for their town, but also the wider Torbay area. A desire for this to be a successful place for the benefit of everyone. And together we want to make Torbay even better and even better known. And as I mentioned, we really have a strong story to tell in our beautiful bay. What we need to do is to get our voice heard above the noise of places nationally and internationally. We need a simple story explaining what we're all about and what we're trying to achieve in each of our towns and in Torbay generally. We need to work together to demonstrate a shared sense of ambition. And what we do know at this incredibly challenging time is we need to protect and rebuild our economies like never before. We need to hang on to the jobs we have, create new ones, especially for the young people, as Steve has mentioned. And to have any chance of achieving this, we need a stronger, more compelling and competitive proposition for what each place and the area has to offer, especially to businesses, relocators, and of course, investors. We've been very clear that it's vital each town has absolute clarity of what it needs to focus on for the future to make it prosperous for the benefit of those that live and work there, and to ensure it has an identity that people can be proud of. While organisations each town will need to relay their Brixham, Paignton or Torquay stories to relevant audiences such as potential business investors, tourism operators and the media, for example, it's also vital to have an overarching story for Torbay. For certain audiences such as government and international investors, we need to communicate the whole of Torbay area and bring together that amazing combination of assets and opportunities to help ensure our voice is heard. That is when we deploy the powerful Torbay story. A powerful story for the whole area benefits every place and everyone within it, and this is our chance. If anything is clear during these difficult times, developing a Torbay story, and one for each town, is more urgent and needed than ever before. The only way to do this is by undertaking a collaborative project to understand what makes Brixham, Paignton, Torquay and Torbay special, competitive and different to other places, and to bring this all together in a new, authentic story that every organisation and individual in each town and across the area can tell and be proud to be part of. And that's where you come in. My job today is to be storyteller rather than story writer, which makes a change, and walk you through the new story for Torbay and for those for Brixham, Paignton and Torquay, to tell you why they've been created, where they've come from, why they matter, and with colleagues to demonstrate the relevance of them to businesses and organisations right across our area today. So let's go on with the show. We should never underestimate the power and importance of place. We all have emotional connections with places, and that even influences businesses and investment decisions. The way Paignton, Brixham, Torquay and Tor Bay are thought about, if they are thought about, and the experience they provide really matters, and maybe even more so in the new world, the challenging world we are all in at the moment. So what has been created? Each story is for everyone in all aspects of life, and it's especially important in helping us to be consistent in how we talk about ourselves to those, especially outside the area, to feel proud of what each great place has to offer so that others feel this too. And this can be achieved by a story which allows us to be flexible in what we say, depending on who we are talking to at that particular time. But in essence, the key is to have one story and one strong message for each location. Our story articulates the distinctiveness, the character and the characteristics of Torbay and our towns, highlighting what makes them special and the opportunities for the development and promotion of our wonderful, wonderful places. Each story has thematic areas or a central idea, which are pillars and chapters of the story and the storybook. They represent what needs to be focused on for Torbay, for Brixham, for Paignton and Torquay to prosper. So extending the story analogy a little more, if I am a storyteller here tonight, then I'm going to be joined by some characters, in inverted commas, who will help to illustrate what each town, what each new story means to them. We're going to start with our overarching story for Torbay that pulls together the compelling offers and opportunities of each of our towns and our surrounding geography. Our first theme is Tech by the Bay, which for many people is a massive surprise, yet it is a vital and growing part of our economy. For many, the big surprise of Torbay is that it's home to a myriad of amazing tech businesses scattered across the glorious natural environment. Indeed, many are located here because of that very environment. There aren't any manufacturing plants or massive distribution centres. Business in Torbay is about knowledge, where the only thing that's big is the thinking. An economy based on ideas, innovation, thinking and ingenuity, where small is big and beautiful. Yet many of these companies are globally significant, undertaking specialist research and pushing the boundaries in the science of light with application used by us all every day. Environmental services, marine engineering, green technology and water testing, to name but a few. Pioneering work, sat in hubs in Paignton, doing a tremendous world pioneering work. Torbay aims to grow its relationship with regional universities to extend these specialisms, with a particular priority of encouraging startup businesses attracted by current clusters, but also the environment to live and work in. Nothing is more stimulating for fresh thinking than a wild swim in the morning, watching the sunrise, canoeing to work, or strolling across Dartmoor. Torbay has it all for a new approach to living and working, as we've seen in particular in the last 18 months or so. Why wouldn't you want to check emails at ease under cloudless skies, surf by the sea, not on it, or meet by the marina? Now that is living and working the dream, and it's something I'm going to try and do in the future. To talk about their perspective of this part of the story and why it's important for the place, I'm delighted to welcome Andrew Robertson, Chairman of the High Tech Cluster. Andrew.
Thank you, Jim. That was a great introduction. I'm going to talk about high tech, as Jim said, perhaps a surprise in the Bay. And as chair of the high tech cluster, I represent over a dozen companies employing around 600 people in and around Tor Bay. They're companies, you may have heard of them, Gooch & Housego, Lumentum, Queensgate, 26, from Torbay, Paignton into Brixham as well. Now, it's a fact that products designed and manufactured in Torbay are critical for global telecommunications networks, driving the internet, enabling the things that we daily use, Amazon, Netflix, all the social media platforms that we use daily are enabled by components designed and manufactured in Torbay. In fact, if you've searched up anything on the internet today, that information has traveled in light through fiber optics components manufactured in Torquay and using equipment designed in Paignton. And although it might be a surprise in Torbay, Torbay companies are actually recognized worldwide for their innovative products in not only telecommunications, but navigation, biomedical imaging, satellite comms, and precision measurement. In fact, you'll find components made from Torbay companies on the moon and on the surface of Mars. So not only global presence, but also in the universe. Now, because most of this high-tech product is exported, that's usually why the story is a surprise, even to local people. But the reality is, Torbay is a great place to grow a high-tech business with an excellent pool of talented people, great local government support, and great links to local colleges and universities. And my part of the story in Torbay, because you can probably tell I'm not from here, is I've been here for the last 22 years. And the first company I started, CFAM Fibre Optics, was started back in 2002 in Torquay. Back then we had 20 people and a revenue of less than £1 million. But when I left that company in 2020, we'd built it to have over 250 employees at our Broomhill site, and the company is now part of a global PLC Gooch & Housego, which is worth over 300 million. But most people still know Broomhill Way as being the location of Toolstation, not the location of products which are found globally and worldwide. But this success story is being repeated at Brixham Laboratories, where Effect Photonics have grown from 4 people to over 100 in less than 5 years. They're now outgrowing that facility and are working closely with the Torbay Development Agency to secure a new modern manufacturing facility in Paignton near the Epic Centre where I am this evening. An important aspect in the location of Effect Photonics in Torbay came through the heritage of high tech in the area. That's absolutely key. The Epic Centre is where my current company is, Bay Photonics. And we are located here and we are developing products for the next generation of quantum computers, absolutely critical if we in the UK are to remain at the forefront of high-tech technology. The Epic Centre is an £8 million facility purpose-built to host high-tech companies, and the tenants benefit from shared prototyping equipment with cutting-edge manufacturing workstations and test equipment to prove their products. We've got a vibrant community of photonics, microelectronics, software, and e-commerce companies. And there isn't much space left here. So if you want to come and join us, you have to be quick. But the high-tech cluster is also working with South Devon College, just across the road here. And we've developed an educational program to ensure that we can be training tomorrow's entrepreneurs and make sure that they've got the right skills to work right here in Torbay in the high-tech industry, in year-round, knowledge-based, high-paid jobs. Actually, it's no secret that high-tech is in the Bay, but we just don't make the news when the weather is bad. And if you want more information on the high-tech companies within the Bay, then just look up Torbay High-Tech Cluster and contact me if you'd like more information. And with that, I'd like to pass back to Jim.
Thanks, Andrew. Absolutely sensational. As I said before you came on, it's really amazing what goes on largely under the radar. A great way to kick off telling our Torbay story with a branch on Mars. It can't get any better than that, really. Superb. Moving on to our second theme, the hub for active adventurers. And there's absolutely no doubt that we're lucky to have some amazing open spaces, attractions, and fabulous places for all ages to enjoy right across our incredible bay. Now more than ever, there is a real focus on health and especially mental health as people reevaluate increasingly pressurized lives, especially with the pandemic, reconsider personal priorities, prioritize friends and family, and search for space and greater contentment. The Torbay story is about a connection with nature where you can explore the environment and yourself while being healthy. The options are endless. The bay itself is a beautiful blue playground where you can go full on adrenaline adventure by jet skiing, water skiing, coast steering, scuba diving, or daring to ride on one of the UK's fastest rib, the Raptor. Of course, you can take it easier by canoeing, kayaking, paddleboarding, while swimming, sailing, or how about sunbathing, as you'll need a rest just like I will. To talk about their perspective of this part of the story and why it's hugely important for the place, I'm delighted to welcome Kate Whittock. Kate, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jim. I just want to double check that I'm unmuted there. I'm going to take a deep breath. That was a lovely introduction. You've got me pumped up and ready to go on the rib. What I'd like to do though is I would like to take everybody back to one of my favorite days of 2021, specifically Tuesday, May the 18th. My alarm is set for 5 a.m. We've checked the weather the night before, 3-mile-an-hour winds and clear skies. Paddleboards pumped, coffee flasks ready at the door. It's 4:49, but I'm too excited to lie there, so I hop out of bed and pop on my cosy, shorts and a woolly fleece. I float downstairs and put on the kettle, grab my overnight oats and a banana. I hear my phone buzz on the counter. I'm here, it says. I grab my board, cross the road, and what a sight. The sky is literally neon pink. Jamie smiles. We paddle out onto the lilac and candy floss orange mirror. Not a wave in sight, so tranquil. It's 5:12 and the great orange ball emerges from the ocean. We cheers our coffee and thank the day for this magnificent show. We paddle for another few minutes, take some pictures, of course, and then head back to shore. Next up is yoga, a mini workout and a coffee. My alarm goes off. It's 8 a.m. Time to get changed and ready for work. The day absolutely flies by. And the next time I look at my phone, it's 5:30 p.m. I hop in my car and head to the top of the moors to meet my friend Emily. We walk by the stream and we're laughing and reminiscing on what we did at the weekend. And then also planning what coastal route to take this week. We climb to the top of Hay Tor in that golden hour sunlight and sit in awe of the sky. We watch the sunset. We hug and say our goodbyes. And when I hit the pillow that night, I just can't wait to do it all again. So I'm here essentially to tell you a little bit about the lifestyle of Torbay. It is incredible here. It's amazing. You've got everything you possibly want as a young person. We've got the moors, which are about 25 minutes from where I live in Paignton. You've got the coastal routes with incredible views. You've got Dartmouth, you've got Paignton, you've got caves, there's just so much to explore here. And then in each little part as well, you have got little coffee bars, coffee bars, what am I on about? Cafes, and you've got little bars and all sorts of things, and the multitude of activities as well. This is actually me that you're seeing, and this photograph was taken just before I had work that morning. So as a young person, it just is an incredible place to live. You've got the height of activities in terms of like your extreme sports, and then you've got your kayaking, which is amazing as well. And Yeah, that's it, Jim. Thank you very much.
You've certainly thank you, Kate. You've certainly put a new perspective on starting the day and a different way of starting to prepare for work. Absolutely, and I think I might have a go at some of that. But I don't know about you, but that thing definitely makes you realise what an exciting, fun, and attractive visitor and resident offer we have. But also how important this is also for considering relocating or setting up a business. So now you've heard about the themes we believe articulate our distinctiveness, our special sense of place, and why Torbay should be thought about, plus our economic advantages, the things we can capitalise more on, and the things that we need to challenge ourselves to deliver on. We decided to headline these themes with a more emotive behavioural statement that is a reflection of our aspiration and the sense of place we want to project. By changing our thinking, doing things differently, we can better utilise all our assets, radiate influence, build confidence, cultivate and encourage strong leadership, develop new relationships, bring business and place together, absolutely vital. We've highlighted this as Tor Bay, the premier marine and natural experience. Tor Bay is the sparkling bay, the majestic coastline, the complementary communities, but it's also Dartmoor, the Devon countryside, and the city relationships of Exeter and Plymouth, just stone's throw away. A collection of enthralling experiences. The sense of place of Torbay is greater than the sum of the parts and has to be premier in every way, with a natural environment setting a very, very high bar. This is a place rich in texture of varied assets from craft and creativity to fishing and food, from photonics to pier and beach, from Agatha Christie to the UNESCO Geopark, from active sports to events and festivals. Where to stop? This outstanding marine and natural experience is as important for attracting, retaining and growing leading edge tech businesses as it is for bringing visitors to the area and being a place where people want to live. This is why Torbay is chosen by so many. To talk about their perspective of this massively important part of the story and why it matters to their organisation, I'm delighted to welcome from South Devon College, the Principal, Lawrence Fruin.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, everybody. If you don't know me, I'm Lawrence Fruin. I'm Principal and Chief Exec at South Devon College, and I'm really proud and excited to get a chance to tell you why we think this Torbay story is so important and why our approach as a whole community to tell this positive story is really critical, more now than ever, and to actually do something about it. And it's been great listening to other people tell that story and looking at the images as they come up on screen that really bring it alive. And I'm absolutely passionate about it personally, but also South Devon Colleges as an organisation. You know, this really is a premier place to live. I live in Brixham and I love being in Torbay. And for me, it really is a place where I want to live, work and learn. And that last bit about learning, that's where the college has got a huge part to keep playing, to continue this fantastic journey that we're already all taking in Torquay, Paignton and Brixham, when we really are already on that journey. This is just another great milestone, and the college will be part of this story and the vision now and as we go forward. South Devon College, it's been at the heart of our fantastic community for 90 years. Can you believe that? In fact, this year is our 90th birthday, and we'll be celebrating later in the year. So it's a great chance for us to link into the story. And we're really proud to be one of the anchor institutions supporting this exciting and positive Torbay story. But I think more importantly, though, we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to serve and support our amazing community and even exceed its potential. And we'll do this as we always have. We'll do it by putting our students at the heart of what we do and why we do it. And we'll continue to deliver our mission to inspire our community through learning for all. If we want people to see this as the premier marine and natural experience, we absolutely need to make it a place they want to be. And education and learning and enhancing their lives is really important to make that happen. So for those of you who don't know, South Devon College is the third largest employer in Torbay. Over 700 people work with us, all supporting our students and learners. And we have around 10,000 students a year coming through our door. And these are students of all ages. Over a quarter are young people, so I'm absolutely passionate about their future. But they're aged from 14 and upwards, and they are our future. We work with over 1,000 businesses and employers every year in all sectors of all sizes. And we help them to thrive. We make sure that their employees now and also their employees of the future, our young people, or those people who are choosing to come and live in Torbay, have got the skills, the knowledge, the behaviours, everything they need to succeed, not just in work, but also in life, to make the most of that rich experience that they can have here in Torbay. We contribute in excess of £30 million a year to our local economy, and we're really proud to be successful and an ambitious organisation that's driven by our values. We've got a mission, that's why we do it, but how we do it is just as important. And that's why the Torbay story is really critical for us, and being a key part of that as an educational institution with that real strong culture of learning at our heart. We offer courses for all ages and all levels, and we even have our university centre here. And we think that's a really important part of the story. If we're going to be a premier area, we need a premier education, and we can even award our own degrees now. We work in close partnership with others, such as the Bay Education Trust and their 3 schools, for example, and we're looking at developing an exciting and ambitious vision for education in Torbay from 2 to 22 plus. So there's so many good things to look forward to in the future. Education changes lives. We know this. It provides people of all ages with great opportunities. And we want to make sure that we continue to provide all of our learners with what they need to lead successful, happy, healthy, and sustainable lives. And we want them to be here, living, working, and learning in Torbay. And of course, we particularly want to do this for our young people. A few of us have said it, but they are our future. We need to keep them here. And in turn, this will create more jobs which are more secure, better paid. They'll create more successful and thriving businesses and individuals, and they'll bring greater prosperity for all of us, for our economy, as well as us as individuals living here. So achieving this, for me, if we get this right, if we make this story come alive and actually do what we say we're telling the story about, it will attract more people to Torbay. It will keep people in Torbay, whether that's to live here or to visit us. And it will make sure that we can truly offer the premier marine and natural experience that is at the heart of this critical story that we're telling. And we'll tell everyone. We will make sure that we tell everybody, and we'll repeat it, and we'll make sure they hear it, whoever it is, that they know our story and they want to be part of it. So for me, as we do as a college, working together, Jim said it earlier on, the sum of the whole will be greater than the individual parts. And that's so important. We're proud of Torbay. We need to be proud of Torbay and make sure that everything we all do really is a premier experience. And for the college, that starts with education and learning. We have students who want to study with us, not only because of the fantastic teaching and learning and the facilities and resources that we have on offer at the college, but because they love where we are. The chance to walk on Dartmoor, to paddleboard before they come into college, to cycle, to run, to walk, to live in a fantastic place. And this is our opportunity to offer an all-round package for Torbay. And if we get it right, our young people will stay to be part of that success, and they will tell the story for years to come, and we'll attract new people to live here and make a really positive contribution. I don't think I have time to say any more. I'd love to talk about this so much more. It's such an exciting opportunity in future, but I'm really excited. I'm really optimistic for our future. And I hope that those of you here this evening and watching this recording later will share this excitement and that optimism too. Jim, back to you.
Lawrence, thanks ever so much. What a tremendous message, and what a brilliant way of delivering it, and what a Torbay story. And just to emphasise that what part of the college plays at the heart of Torbay and South Devon, has done for ages and will do. So thank you, Lawrence, for being on board. And now moving on to the 3 towns, starting with Brixham. And we've called this really a wonderful central idea, a creative food and fishing fusion. Brixham is a wonderful and colourful collision of creativity. craft, food and fishing. A very special place. As you approach from the sea, you're met with a view of painted houses, fantastic painted houses, a visual emblem of this quirky, quaint and characterful place. Around the town, you can enjoy the best in seafood, from fish and chips to memorable restaurant meals, knowing that the provenance of the product is literally right next to you, from trawler to restaurant. This is a place of glorious disconnects, epitomised by enjoying the best in gourmet seafood while watching fish being landed in one of the busiest fishing ports in the UK, an industrially inspired quality dining experience. From art and craft markets to events and festivals such as Brixfest and the Pirates Festival, Brixham comes together as a community, but one that welcomes others to enjoy the experience it offers. There is potential to deliver more activity of this type, to improve the public realm, to do so and reinforce the creative credentials of the town. Indeed, it's fantastic to find artists, studios and browse through arts and crafts shops, which all feel a natural part of Brixham and make it that extra special place. There's no doubt that the harbour and fish market are the beating heart of the town, the most important fishing port and most successful fishing port in England and Wales. In recent times, the market has benefited from a major regeneration, and there are hopes for a further expansion. However, there are other aspects of creativity to be found in the businesses within Brixham Laboratory, a science and technology-based hub sitting right next to the sea. Here there are leading edge companies in the fields of marine, environmental, photonics and water quality. Brixham is a compelling collection of experiences. To talk about their perspective of this Brixham story and why it's important for the place and for them, I'm delighted to hand over to Laura Cowan, Communications Director of Rockfish. Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim, and good evening to everybody. And thanks to the other speakers as well. I'd like to sort of echo Lawrence's words, actually, about being excited about being part of this Tor Bay story. When I was doing a bit of preparation on doing this talk today about Brixham, I actually started by asking a friend who lives in Bristol to read what I'd written, give me a bit of feedback. And she did. This is what she said. It's her actual words, word for word. Crikey, I want to move there right now. Not quite the feedback I was expecting or asking for, but I think you'll agree exactly what we all want to hear. Over the last 17 years, I've had the opportunity to work to help promote Tor Bay and Brixham in particular through my work. In 2004, when working at Fishworks, the plans regarding the redevelopment of the buildings at the quayside were shared with us, and Mitch had a vision and saw an opportunity to open a great restaurant there. We've been buying our fish from Brixham auctions for years and knew that the moment we saw the plans, wow, we really want to be here. It did take a little bit of time, but fast forward 10 years, and in 2014, as many of you know, we opened Rockfish right above the market. That initial wow feeling has simply never changed. And if anything, it's just got stronger. The concept of a seafood restaurant being located exactly where the fish is landed, still relatively unique around even continental Europe. There were some market stalls selling fish and some basic cafes selling seafoods at markets, and they were all pretty amazing. But a full-scale hospitality experience right at the market was still groundbreaking. And rightly, a lot of people questioned that decision at the time. Many said it's a risk. You'll never fill a 100-seater restaurant in such a small town. And in fact, when I was doing a bit of research back then about what visitors felt about Brixham or what they were saying, there was a lot of good stuff, of course, but there were some comments around, like this one. Decided to visit Brixham expecting a warm welcome for visitors. Instead, we found a tired, tatty, dirty, low-cost town, no redeeming shops to visit, all appeared down at heel or closed, poor service in restaurants, along with bad attitudes. Now, that was in 2013, and I think you'll all agree, unrepresentative of what Brixham had to offer. But still, it was being said. Just last month, this was posted, and more representative, I think, of what we see now and hear now about Brixham and what we know about it. Such a lovely, unspoilt harbour with very friendly people all around, some great places to eat and see, a hidden gem and worth a visit. And we agree with that statement. We now at Rockfish have a fishmongers, a takeaway and a processing unit alongside our restaurant. And Brixham Rockfish has turned into our flagship. We employ 100 people in Tor Bay alone. And it's because people want to come to visit this lovely town. It's steeped in maritime and fishing history, as others have said. This small town with a big seafood heritage. It's no surprise to many of us, of course, here tonight. For everyone that lives away from the sea, the coast offers a bit of escape, a bit of wide open space. No matter how small the towns or streets are alongside it, you face the big blue. All over the world, coastal communities and spaces become a hub for creative talent and relaxed living. And you only have to look at California, and okay, I know it's got more sunshine, but look at Norway as well, and life around the fjords. And being by the sea has been shown to have great health benefits. There was a great article about exactly that in last weekend's paper. It's all very real and authentic, what we do. It's not a theme park. It is what we actually do. Watching the boats come in and out of the harbour, swimming, stand-up paddleboarding, as others have said, kayaking, sailing, fishing, crabbing, and exploring the tiny bays accessible only by the water. And then, of course, seafood itself is quite a draw. When you come to the coast, we all want to eat seafood, I think. The fishing industry is very powerful to tourism, both visually and experientially. For us here in Brixham, fishing boats are the backdrop to our lives, and there's a bit of magic about it, and there's a bit of magic we want to share, and a bit of magic that people want to see. Those who've had visited Brixham come back again and again. Brixham's authenticity shines through. It's a close, small, close-knit community, and they're happy to share their town and their food traditions. And new places with food keep appearing. There are some truly wonderful offerings, and always have been. Middle Street and beyond are centres of great town activity. The Larder, Curious Kitchen, Wine Loft, amongst the many fabulous offerings. And there's Thai restaurants and artisan bakeries. We've even got haunted buildings. And alongside all this, woven into the Brixham calendar have been things like Fish Dock and Brixfest, community swimming, trawler racing, sailing clubs, as well as the open air Lido and the Geo Park up at Berry Head. And Berry Head, surely one of the most beautiful viewpoints in the country, and overlooking what we call England's seafood coast. And this was a concept championed by Mitch and working in collaboration with Carolyn Custerson, who's here tonight, and the English Riviera. That was a concept that has really taken off and supported by many of you here tonight. It was jumped on by Visit England, unsurprisingly. When someone says, where are the best places to eat seafood in the world? Brixham should be right up there with Brittany and with New England. I absolutely should, and I absolutely believe that. We have some of the best seafood in the world here, and the Europeans and the Chinese know about it because they're constantly trying to buy it all from us. So we've just got to tell a few more people about it. The sense of community that exists in Brixham goes beyond fishing and restaurants and food, of course, and that community and those faces within the community are very powerful to us and our messaging. Everyone loves a good welcome, and we do that well in Brixham. Just look at organisations such as Pride, a collection of volunteers who go around tirelessly taking pride in our space, voluntarily, keeping flowers growing, cleaning up parks and public spaces, even painting the public loos. That's dedication. And another organisation, Till the Coast is Clear, who make huge efforts to keep our coasts litter-free, taking out ribs and collecting rubbish from the less accessible areas of our waters. At Rockfish, we've just funded a new £17,000 litter-free sea project with Till the Coast is Clear, and I'm pretty excited about that as being something quite visible as a presence in our waters soon, which I hope to share with you all. So to finish, I think I'll quote somebody else, not me, but a Guardian journalist who was writing about a piece on about why anyone might move to Brixham, and I think he sums up the town quite well. Brixham still has the pumping heart and community of a bona fide fishing town, with pretty, brightly painted cottages jostling around a steep-sided harbour, with views out to Tor Bay that would give the Bay of Naples a run for its money. Thank you very much all for listening, and I'll pass back to Jim. Over to you, Jim.
Thanks, Laura. A brilliant contribution and just showing what a magical place Brixham is and what a magical place Tonks is. Thank you ever so much. So moving on to Paignton now, and here we actually have two ideas at play. And the first one is family fun on the foreshore. Paignton is the classic British seaside town and aspires to be the best bucket and spade experience anywhere. It boasts a beautiful sandy beach, brightly coloured beach huts, a prom you want to walk along, and a pier you just have to get to the end of. There are plenty of shops and places to eat, just a few minutes from the seafront. Paignton is accessible, compact and easygoing. Right next to the beach is the family-friendly fun at the Geoplay Park, where you can see all smiles and hear laughter as young and old spend time together, something we all appreciate so much. The sparkling water is so attractive for water-based activity, and the special climate, along with exotic palm trees, make it feel like a real place of escape. Paignton isn't complicated or trying to be something it isn't. It offers traditional values and great value to the best standard it can, and people love that. This is an investable proposition too, as the new hotels, the Fragrance Group and others demonstrate. With a nearby zoo, the steam train, refurbishment of the famous picture house, and the potential for more food and drink brands, it just needs to package it all up and deliver fun and frolics by the sea. Now, to talk about their perspective of this part of the story and why it's important for the place, over to Maureen McAllister, the Operations Director of the Palace Theatre.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. As Jim says, I run the Palace Theatre in Paignton, where there have been plenty of fun and frolics over the Christmas period. For us, Paignton is about pride of place and about potential. And sometimes we feel it's a potential that's not always been seen or grasped as quickly as it could have been, but we really want to seize the aspiration that this story is now telling about Paignton, and we're absolutely wanting to be part of it. We see our role in facilitating the fulfilment of local people and of visitors when they come into our area. The people of Paignton love being part of this part of the bay. They love the fact that they're part of a strong community, and just as much as they love the fact that they live by the seaside. And this is really demonstrated in their commitment and their support of places like the theatre. So we really do want to underpin this kind of joined up working together, basically about what we can do. And what we can do is bring together community activity, from workshops to finding your feet for local people who needed to get back out again after being locked up during the pandemic, from our panto that you saw on the screen a moment ago, that we welcome 5,000 people to our theatre over 13 days over Christmas. And 300 people to a New Year's Eve party within the theatre building. People want to be out and people want to experience what Paignton can offer. And we're just a small part of that, but I feel a very important part. We also want to make it clear within this story what we can bring, and what we can bring are big names to Paignton and big names that want to come to Paignton. We've welcomed Jack Dee recently, we've welcomed Michael Portillo. He didn't come on the steam train, but he still came to Paignton. We've welcomed Lucy Worsley, and they want to come back. They want to come back because of the welcome and the feeling of community that they have when they come into our theatre. But we're also bringing in new ideas. So we're bringing in opera, we're bringing in ballet, we're bringing in afternoon teas, and we're bringing in Strictly stars like Flavia Caccia, who is going to be doing dance classes just starting this Saturday in our theatre. But we're also clear about what we can develop, and what we can develop is this creative hub. We are a place for people to come and develop themselves and to showcase themselves. That can be from our AmDrams, that can be from people learning in our workshops, and also for people launching themselves. So we were delighted to have a film premiere on our stage this weekend, just as we're as delighted to have world premieres of Agatha Christie's unseen and unheard plays every year during the Agatha Christie Festival. We see ourselves as a cultural hub, and we want to continue to see ourselves as a cultural hub for Paignton. We want to use creativity to make a difference to visitors and local people. And that's all ranges of stuff. That's not just highbrow culture, that's everything that we can possibly offer within our space. And we see this very much fitting in to the family fun. We see ourselves as a place for local people and also for visitors to the area, young and old. And because it's not just about the local, it's not just about the visitor economy, it's also about visitors, visiting friends and relatives. I'm sure we all have more visitors than we can ever cope with during the summer months living where we live. And it's how we then take those people out and we showcase the local area to them. But it's also more than a bucket and spade for us. It's about a whole experience, and it's a whole experience in a great location. It's a great place for beaches, but it's also going to be a great place for independent retail, independent hospitality, attractions from the pier to the steam train to the zoo, the fabulous theatre that there is in Paignton, obviously, and that whole kind of browsing, sharing experience. It's a whole package from sunrise to sunset. And that's whether you're watching the sunrise on the beach with a coffee, going and playing in the play park afterwards, or whether when the sun sets, you're strolling to our fabulous theatre. Did I mention our fabulous theatre? Whether you're strolling to our fabulous theatre to see one of the fantastic shows that we have on. So Paignton's got something from the beginning of the day until the end of the day. And I think that's what's really important for our message, that it is lively and it's fun. And it is fun for all the family, whatever age your family could be. So I'll hand back to Jim now.
Thanks, Maureen. Your passion for Paignton, for Torbay, and that fabulous theatre shines through. That's brilliant and well done. Moving on to our second idea for Paignton, and now we have the Centre for Enterprise, Electronics and Entrepreneurship. Paignton isn't just loved by visitors, it excites entrepreneurs, as seen by the cluster of technology businesses who call it their home. As well as right across Torbay, here there is Tech by the Sea, epitomised, but what as we mentioned before, by EPIC, the Electronics and Photonics Innovation Centre, a purpose-built hub with laboratories and offices, but also research and development and product development facilities. It is home to various international tech businesses who find the quality of the environment, both work and natural, to be extremely attractive. There is a real desire to expand this aspect of the economy, as it doesn't require lots of space, which Torbay doesn't have, and it attracts high quality, well-paid jobs, which we desperately need. Paignton, along with other parts of the Bay, can be a hub for high-tech entrepreneurs and start-up businesses with people who want to return to the area, perhaps from nearby universities, who have studied at the renowned South Devon College. There are clearly further opportunities to exploit relating to green technology, especially at the moment with climate change. Marine, working with the NHS Trust in terms of health and well-being, and with the college for future skills development. To talk about how they see this crucial part of the story and why it's so important, I'm going to hand over now to Phil Mitchell, technologist and photonics engineering specialist and vice chair of the Torbay High Tech Cluster. Phil.
Hi everyone, thank you very much, Jim. Yeah, it's a real pleasure to be here actually, and what a great introduction as well. Thank you very much. You've really got me excited. So yes, hi, I'm Phil. I work for a company called Lumentum. We're one of the many entrepreneurial companies here in the Bay. We, Lumentum, manufacture photonic products, optoelectronic products. Where traditional people like to talk about electrons and wires, we tend to talk about fiber optics and photons. Photons was a concept developed by Einstein back in 1905. So it's really quite exciting to follow people like him who develop those skills and enable us to do good work as well. Now, we've been really busy these last couple of years. I know COVID's been really tricky for everyone, but we've really tried to do our part as well. Lumentum, other companies within the cluster, like my colleagues that you see on the screen now, you know, Zooming, team, was it Microsoft Team, utilizing other kind of internet capabilities. This has really been so important for the whole of the UK society, the global society for the last couple of years. And we've really tried to, within Lamentum, Paignton and the other companies, try and support what the global community need, like my friend there, Jane, who's in charge of the network verifying capabilities. We make all sorts of products. If you've got a brand new car, which maybe has ranging capabilities where you can monitor the distance where you are between the car in front, you quite probably have a Lamentum product in there. If you have the latest camera, which does face recognition, you probably got a Lamentum Vixel in there. We do all sorts of stuff. If you're involved in really heavy metal engineering and you have lasers which come in and cut the metal, quite probably you've got a Lamentum product in there. Lamentum, we're not very well known, probably in the Bay. Maybe if I take you back 50 or 60 years, STCITT, you may remember those. You know, the whole kind of photonic industry is really about mergers and acquisitions. So STC back in the day was acquired by Nortel, which was acquired by Brixham, acquired by Aclaro, and now we're Lamentum. Now, the good thing is you go through this front door and quite often the faces you see are the same ones you saw when it was a different name above the door. But we still have the same group of really enthusiastic, as you see on the screen there. We really like working with the local community as well to, you know, share our experiences, our entrepreneurship. You know, I would like to say we're working with South Devon College as well at the moment to produce a photonics course. This will be the one and only photonics course this side of the Bay. Now, I forgot to put my little timer on, so I've probably already spoken for 2 minutes, but please tell me to stop when you want to. We have basically 90 of us at the site, and all sorts of kind of entrepreneurial skills go on there. If you're into designing optical products, you can do that. If you're more into, say, finance, looking at the money side of it, we do that as well. Now, you know, we're a bit of a quiet bunch down in Lamentum. We work at our desks and in our labs, but we like to get out and go to Rockfish and meat cheese in Tor Bay on those special occasions, elephant in Torquay as well. So, you know, it's a well-paid job. We do well for the money. Down here in Tor Bay as well, you know, we actually are good for the global industry. I would also like to say, you know, we're not the first to be entrepreneurials. If we think back to Isaac Marriott Singer, famous industrialist of its day, you still got some of those Singer machines in your house, or what your granny had. Oliver Heaviside, very famous mathematician going back to 1850s. Isambard Kingdom Prunell as well, a very famous person. So we have all this heritage within our bay. I could go on, but I don't have enough time. So, you know, our guiding principles that we have are innovate, engage, deliver what we can, you know, to the business, win and excel. And we do that, as you already heard, with our partners. South Devon College, one of our very important partners. We also have other partners, all based at the Electronic Photonic Innovation Centre, which Andrew talked about, all part of the cluster. Whenever I go to EPIC, I also have to do my homework first because it's such an amazing place. You need to wear your roller skates as well when you're there to keep up with everybody, because it is really so exciting. You know, I also enjoy visiting the schools and the colleges and just to promote what optoelectronics is all about. For me, it first started as a young guy, 16, 17, when I left school. I always knew I liked technology. So where did I go? South Devon College. And then I was able to get a job with STC. Yes, I'm older than 50, so I started at STC, and I've seen a lot of names above the door, but I'm still there, and I'm still really enjoying it. I enjoy engaging with the community, and now I'm working with the college and other members within the cluster as well, which makes it just so exciting. So, you know, what I would say, yes, you know, the other companies, not just Lamentum, we heard 26, Spirant, the Epic Centre, the Gooch and Huskers. These are all really people highly motivated, maybe in small and medium-sized companies. Some are just startups where they got this fantastic idea and they're in the process of developing it, and they just need that little bit of help. And that's where we all come in. I absolutely enjoy being vice chair. I've lived in Torbay all my life. I've made my career out of it. I'm not about to leave Torbay either. You know, this is it for me. Isn't it fantastic? You go to work on a Monday morning, you do your job, afternoon, you're down at Rockfish having your fish and chips from Brixham, or you're in Torquay maybe on a Sunday afternoon down at the pier point. You know, you can do all these wonderful things. One of my colleagues once said to me, he said, "Oh, Philip, isn't it great here?" You know, he said, I could go and work in London, I could go in Bristol, you know, for reasons most people don't want to do that at the moment, which is understandable. And he said to me, "I'm quite glad working down here in Tor Bay on 10% less than what I can get in London." And I think that epitomized what I would say. Please don't tell our bosses that, because we don't want them to know. We want, they pay us what they pay. But it just summarizes what a really wonderful place it is here to be in Tor Bay. Engineering, innovating, working with some amazing people like South Devon College, the Epic Centre, the other members of the cluster. And it enables us to, you know, really do something very good for the community, Paignton, Torbay, the UK and the rest of the world. And what I really like is at Christmas, because you do all this crazy stuff, you have some amazing stories to, you know, tell your family. If you want to know what it's like being in Mumbai in a hotel and there's an earthquake at, you know, of level 4.3 and you're shaking a little bit, then please come and join us at Lamentum. You'll get to hear or even see yourself things like that. So if I can just stop there, thank you very much, Jim. It's a pleasure.
Philip, thanks ever so much for that tremendous story. And I'm sure part of the Torbay story will making sure that you and the high-tech cluster start shouting a little bit more to explain exactly what you do and the huge success you do in Paignton and Brixham. Absolutely. So let's look at Torquay. Last but definitely not least, let's take a look at Torquay. And we've called this idea Leading on Leisure and Lifestyle by the Sea. Torquay is the best known of the Torbay towns, and as a destination brand, the heart of the English Riviera and a premier experience. Promenading to the marina, it's not hard to see why, and I see that every day going to work. From the inviting Blue Bay to the gardens and galleries, to the harbourside cafes and restaurants, and the surrounding captivating countryside, it's a place that inspires. Indeed, many have been influenced by its setting, ambience and lifestyle, including author Dame Agatha Christie and the poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning, along with the thousands who visit every year. The location is also part of the UNESCO Global Geopark, which recognises outstanding landscape, and coupled with a mild microclimate, the attraction is clear to see. The marina is the epicentre of the place experience, and a place to be seen just wandering around, admiring the yachts and taking in the elegant atmosphere. There's no shortage of opportunities for food and drink, from a seafood snack to a Michelin star meal, or you can just sit with a glass of wine and watch the world go quietly by. This area offers many more opportunities, with the repurposing of iconic buildings such as the Pavilion and the potential for pop-up shops and street food to further animate this waterfront experience. While there is plenty to do in Torquay and slightly further afield, other possibilities are a centre for creative writing, building on the DNA of Dame Agatha, a home for the Geopark, to tell the story of the landscape and activation of the public space. It has a lot of stories to tell, a lot of stories to tell. Ultimately, Torquay is perfectly positioned to benefit from a focus on leisure and lifestyle so many are discovering. This has been its proposition for decades, and it intends to retain and develop that brand quality and experience for the enjoyment of generations to come. To talk about their perspective of this part of the story, I need not introduce Carolyn Cusserson from the English Riviera Bid Company. Carolyn.
Thank you very much, Jim, for the introduction. Good evening, everybody. It really is great to be here, whether we're online or face-to-face. It's wonderful to see there's 130 people involved with tonight's event. So I've got 6 minutes, which is hard for me to keep to, so I'm going to move quite quickly with the request for me to focus on the Torquay story. So there's various elements I'm going to run through, including visitor feedback, opportunities for the future, challenges, and value of the visitor economy today. But just to set the scene, we all know that Torquay has always been a premier British seaside town since Victoria times. That's a fact. There's a lot of it documented, and we're very lucky to have people like Kevin Dixon to share that depth of history and heritage with us. The town also has, without doubt, a unique heritage and an exceptional natural environment, highlighted with the facts that Jim's already mentioned, the birthplace of the world's most famous crime writer, Agatha Christie. We should be using this like Stratford uses Shakespeare, and we haven't done that yet. We are a UNESCO Global Geopark. That is a global accreditation that provides us with a unique golden thread of opportunity across Torquay and the whole resort. And we have world-class attractions, including marina and restaurants, that we should be very, very proud of. So I just want to take a moment to share with you the value of tourism to Torquay. Today, Torquay generates around this is not in a COVID year, obviously, it generates around £250 million in visitor spend every year. That represents about half of the total visitor spend for the whole of Torbay. It also provides 6,000 jobs, and our whole objective is to extend periods of employment and to reduce seasonality so we can offer better career prospects. Of the visitors that come, 1.7 million of them are day visitors and 650,000 are staying visitors. This is a big business for Torquay. It is Torquay's main business, and 83% of total visitors are leisure visits and the balance are business visits, which have also been under threat because of COVID. So just to reiterate, tourism is very big business for both Torquay, Torbay, English Riviera. I wanted to reflect and share with you two things: what the media are saying about Torquay and what our visitors are saying about Torquay, because I think it's really important to not always believe you know everything. You need to listen to what visitors are saying, not just repeat visitors, but most importantly, non-visitors. Why aren't they coming? What is it they want? What are the gaps in our product? So we'll come on to that in a moment. But what the media are saying is really exciting. 12 years ago, when I arrived here on the English Riviera, the media coverage was very mixed for the resort, very mixed for Torquay. And you sort of read with trepidation what was going to be published. You know, I thought very carefully about the words and the stories we use with journalists. But today, that's not the case. We need to be really confident about the media coverage we're getting. And one of the slides that came up earlier was promoting the fact that in 2021, Torquay was voted the #1 staycation destination by TripAdvisor. That is really, really fantastic, because it's the first time Torquay or the English Riviera has ever been voted #1 by TripAdvisor. And what is really exciting is that we beat Cornwall and the Lake District. Fantastic. So we hold that award for 12 months. We're absolutely milking it within the national advertising at the moment. We have huge roadside posters up in Manchester, Nottingham, Coventry that are promoting the award, and also how strong our TripAdvisor reviews are now. We have potentially a great product, and it's coming along really nicely. And these awards followed on from the #25 B&B, winning best B&B in the world, etc. And just picking up on what Laura said from Rockfish, The Guardian have done some great coverage for us too. And one of their quotes was that Torquay is one of Britain's most blooming seaside towns. So media coverage overall, I would say, is 90% positive, and we need to just be confident that we have a fantastic place to shout about and promote. What's going on? I want to talk about the importance of research. The bid company invests a lot of money in research, and at the end of 2021, we commissioned a visitors survey. It hadn't been done for 4 years, and I wanted to hear what visitors were saying and to just try and understand the damage that COVID was causing. We knew COVID had generated a 52% drop in turnover for our 1,200 tourism and hospitality businesses. It's a massive, massive impact to have taken, and we needed to understand what visitors were thinking about it. But the good news was staycations were booming, and we saw a massive growth in staycationers. And the biggest opportunity for us moving forwards is keeping those staycationers. That's what we need to do. So just a few quotes. Just briefly, what people said in the visitor survey. You can access this on the ERBID website under research. It's the top survey that's currently being published. These are some of the things visitors say. A fab place to have a holiday. Just love the feel and the atmosphere of the Riviera. I love being by the sea. I love the holiday mood. The air is so clean. It's an amazing place. Absolutely love the beautiful beaches and scenery. And what's the most exciting thing of the survey is that the overall score from the 1,300 visitors that were surveyed was a score of 4.63 out of 5. So we are doing a hell of a lot right. And visitors overall are definitely happy and are rating the product and their visit to the English Riviera and Torquay as very good. And that was in a COVID year. So we're getting high recommendation, and excitingly, 72% of those surveyed have said they will visit again. That is a very high percentage, and we should be really encouraged by that. But what I always think is, what are the other 28% thinking? Why don't they want to visit again? And we are looking at investing in conjunction with Blue Sail and the Destination Management Plan project and some further non-visitor research. We need to understand why 28% don't want to come back to the English Riviera. What are we doing wrong? What don't they like? What are the gaps? So the English Riviera brand remains very lively, and naturally inspiring seems to be the right strapline at the moment. We've all got challenges, we know. I'm not going to use time to focus on those, but the challenges are challenges that as a whole partnership and a team of people we need to address. Empty buildings. The pavilion, in my view, should be a national heritage centre for Agatha Christie. We've got problems around seasonality, quality of shopping, antisocial behaviour, and COVID. The challenges around COVID and the impact of Omicron on our Christmas and New Year business levels was huge. And we've seen businesses lose a hell of a lot of money this Christmas and New Year. I just want to finish by focusing on future opportunities. So the future opportunities for Torquay and the English Riviera are really very exciting. And what I would say to everybody that's in a position to invest. Have the confidence that we do have a premier destination. We are leading the marketplace. We do have a very high recommendation score, and visitors are overall very happy with what we're doing. The opportunities are around year-round, so that we can increase employment, and you have the confidence to invest more. We need to keep those first-time visitors coming back, because the lifelong value of a customer is hundreds of thousands of pounds. We don't want them not coming back. Zero carbon goals are very important. Accessibility goals are equally important. 25% of the visitor market have now an accessible need. Culture and events is a huge opportunity. Seafood Coast, as Laura pointed out from Rockfish, is a massive opportunity. It's a unique brand that we secured through Visit England, and we need to get the momentum behind again on that. We need to focus more on target marketing. This is what the work of Blue Sail and Destination Management Plan is highlighting. Cultural explorers, couples 35 plus, young actives, they were highlighted earlier. We know that families are very important, and we will of course promote families, but we have a very, very high repeat for main summer families. But if we're going to extend the season and get to an all year round operation, then we've got to think about who is available to come on holiday outside the school holidays. And particularly, we believe the opportunities with the 35 plus cultural explorers. We need to develop more new products. So the Great Fast Rib is brilliant. Sean doing his stand-up paddleboards, brilliant. Graham Kerr introducing English Riviera walking tours, brilliant. We need more products, better visitor experiences, more links to heritage and history and the natural landscape, because that's what potential new visitors to the resort are looking for. So we need to diversify and widen our product offering, and that is what is so exciting. So I'm going to stop at that point and just say that the English Riviera Bid Company are really excited about moving into the second term of the bid. So we are into ER Bid 2. We started in January. It's a 5-year term. Our job is to facilitate, enable and work in partnership with those 1,200 tourism businesses, providing research, evaluation and leadership to try and grow the value and volume of the vital visitor economy for Tor Bay, which for the whole bay is worth £550 million a year. So I'll finish at that point. Thank you, Jim, for the introduction. I think it's now over to John. And if anybody has any further questions anytime, please just contact me. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carolyn. As passionate and as inspirational as ever, and the way you've led the tourism industry in the last couple of years, hugely challenging years, has been inspirational. So thank you. So now you've heard the themes and the ideas that make up the Brixham, Paignton, Torquay, and overarching Torbay stories that we believe articulate our distinctiveness, why they're relevant to different organisations, and a view of our ambition, aspiration at the heart of this new sense of direction. I hope you're enthused, because I certainly have been, especially by the speakers, but I guess some of you may have the odd lingering thought about, can this work? What's Parker talking about? Will it make a difference? Or is it just going to be a flavour of the month thing? Well, I'd like to invite Thinking Place, the place specialist organisation that's helped us in creating our new story, and to give us their perspective of where Torbay and our towns are, at what we can achieve based on some examples of the successes in other places have had. So please welcome their founder, John Till.
Thanks, Jim. And it's great to be with you all. It's a real privilege. As Jim said, for the last 15 years, we've been working with places right across the UK and trying to help them capture their special story. And it's amazing, really, that in all the time of my life, I have never been to Tor Bay, can you believe? Yet now, I think it is so special. It has so much potential, so many opportunities. Yes, there are challenges, but all places have challenges. At the end of the day, you are dripping with assets. You are dripping with brilliant people and wonderful attractions. And what we're trying to do, I suppose, with this that you're hearing, is to create that shared sense of direction for the place. So to give it clear purpose, each of them individually and Tor Bay overall. So some context. At the moment, and you will be very aware of this, places are really facing a perfect storm of pandemic, of changes to work, live that we don't even know what they're going to be, of online shopping, of climate change. I could go on. All places are in a change program. It doesn't matter whether they think they are or not, they are. And doing nothing is not an option. We aren't just going to be able to recover and go back to where we were. So let's look at some places and see what they've done. I want to start with Staffordshire, a drive-through place that manages to ignore the two main cities at either end of it, Manchester and Birmingham. And what has happened there is a coming together of the places behind a strong brand. So all the towns within it have still got their own story. It's still strong. But as has been said, they are now in a position where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And the other bit that they've moved on to is externalization of the story. And that's going to be key for you guys as well, because you can't just talk within, you have to talk without, whether that's visitor economy or to government. So here we see them talking to Birmingham and Manchester. We move on to Medway. Medway in Kent, a created place of 5 towns. It was just a council, and now it's a place-led positioning, the largest conurbation in the southeast outside of London. And where they lacked ambition and aspiration, coming together has meant they're going for all sorts of things. They just missed out on shortlisting for City of Culture 2025. But what they've done is they've brought the place together, whether that is universities, transport, the college, they're all talking the same language now, which is really exciting. Takes me to Coventry. Coventry, lost in the Midlands, loads of assets, but just not telling its story compared to other places. So for them, this was about trying to get to stakeholders where it mattered. So here you see their investment showcase held in the Shard in London, because they wanted to get the story out to government, to investors, to developers who would not go to their place. And it was told by the stakeholders. And you get confidence from collaboration. 8 years ago, if I'd have in a room with all of the stakeholders said you were going to bid for City of Culture, let alone win it, they would have been rolling around laughing. So to you guys, you can do amazing things. Listen to all these stories. If you think differently, if you act differently, and if you believe, it is amazing, because you are sat there with so much potential and so much success already. It's definitely about this, making the place the hero. It opens up opportunities. You can realize the magic of place. When you're place-led in what you do, it allows you to do all sorts of things. But if you're going to do that, you need confidence. You have to be brave. You have to take risks. You have to dare to dream. You have to get some things wrong. You are allowed to get things wrong. You need to harness the talent that there is in the place. We have met so many people with so much passion for this place, in public, private, third sector. Maximize their ideas, use their relationships as much as you can. But the other thing as well is, whilst of course you need to be proud of your town, and you should be, you need to recognise the need to come together. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. That collaboration is so, so important. And you can do that as much as possible. And yes, be ambitious, but keep it real. You have to be able to deliver on this. And the great bit about being place-led, having this fresh approach, is it's fun. It really is fun. And it certainly should be fun for you guys with the offer you have. But it's hard work. It really is hard work. But you'd be amazed. You've seen just a flavour of what places can deliver. So finally, as you've listened, as I have, to great speakers, look at the brilliant natural people and organisational assets you've got. Make the most of all of them. Don't focus on what you haven't got. Focus on what you have got, because you have got so much. Torbay really has so much potential. I wish you all the very best on this story journey.
John, thanks ever so much. And it's just fabulous to hear the passion and enthusiasm that you have for the places that you've worked with. And it's inspirational to see what they've achieved as well. And for me, it shows it's not just flavour of the month. We're being serious in what we're doing here with the help of you and your company. So now I would like to give you an update on what's happening in Torbay and the towns and what's going to happen next with this important work. When I look at what has been achieved to date, I think it's worth remembering this project has only been underway a short while. I've been involved from the start, and considering the enormity of the task, we have moved at pace because we all wanted to get delivery and make a difference. We've been very fortunate to have a group of organisations and individuals from across the area who have overseen the development of the story. It's vitally important we have a continuing senior and strong presence of businesses and other leaders to stand up for their area and play their part in raising its profile. We have started the process of creating a place leadership board to really champion and drive the area forward, to be guardians of the brand and to oversee the programme of better promoting and developing Torbay and its 3 towns. Torbay is only as strong as its individual towns, and will be setting up a town board for each place to ensure their voice is heard and the community is brought together, as John says, in a powerful way as possible. So I'm sure you're thinking, how can we all get involved? We're very lucky in that we already have many individuals and companies who are quietly great champions for Torbay, who promote the place, speak up for it, and want to be part of taking the area forward. Some have spoken today. We want to build on the fantastic work these individuals and companies are doing by creating a Team Torbay approach. There's no I in team. We want to create a place network that gives businesses and other organisations the chance to come together to learn about the development of our place, to see how they can play a part and create relationships that benefit themselves and the area. This will provide a high quality opportunity for us to come together to understand and support the place. And with this in mind today, we are excited to be launching our own Champions Network for Torbay, which will be totally focused on helping all of us tell and sell our new story, most importantly, outside Torbay. The purpose of the programme is to bring businesses and organisations together to really put Torbay firmly on the map. We've heard about the great story we have to tell and how much we have to be proud of, but it needs all of us to be doing this together, to all act as ambassadors for Torbay and to cascade the stories about our beautiful, brilliant towns and Torbay as a whole. We all have connections within and outside Torbay, and we can all do our bit to spread the word. And what is different is that we now have the tools to do this. We want to take this story viral. Imagine the impact we can have by all working together as one to achieve this. So you are critical to its success going forward. Torbay champions will have access to a toolbox to support the promotion of your organisation within Torbay. The opportunity to come together every 2 months to hear from leaders and others across Torbay, share best practice, network, and come up with ideas for how we can promote Torbay in the future. This will open up new opportunities for your own organisations, meeting senior decision makers across Torbay, raising your profile and keeping you up to date on all the latest developments in the towns and beyond together. So a little more about the toolbox I mentioned earlier. We have a fantastic set of new imagery to help tell the story, which you've been getting a glimpse of tonight. This will be available for any of you to use. It's free, and the image library will be added to throughout the year and beyond. How good is that? I'm very aware that a picture paints 1,000 words. We also have a new way of visually communicating the Torbay story. Again, you have been getting a glimpse of that today. We're going to hold a masterclass session for key stakeholders, design agencies, and commissioners of work from both the public and private sector, so they can understand the story and encourage them to do things differently in the work they manage and deliver, including marketing, putting on events, public realm improvements, or new developments, so they all support the fabulous story. If you think this will be useful to you, then we'd be delighted if you're able to join us for this informative session on February the 2nd from 10 till 12 via Zoom. Some details will go out later. The words and images from the day's event have also been designed in a stunning storybook that each of you will receive in the coming weeks. And this will allow you to make the most of the Torbay story in promoting your business, while at the same time getting the Torbay message out there. A win-win. We've achieved an awful lot behind the scenes in just a few months. And I feel that we are at the start of a very, very exciting journey. And please join us at our first Champions meeting, which is now on March the 24th at 5:30 to 7 o'clock, and hopefully at the Southdown College. And again, further details will follow. I hope you will support this new approach and feel energized by the words you've heard tonight. Remember to tell someone something positive about Brixham or Paignton, or Torquay or Torbay, or maybe the lot of them together. And don't forget to use the hashtag Torbay Story. Now, finally, I'd like to hand over to Darren Cowell, Deputy Leader of the Council, to say a few words and close tonight's event. Darren, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. And the enthusiasm and passion has been truly motivational tonight and really inspirational. And yes, as one or two speakers have alluded to, there are many problems that we need to address in Torbay. But if we work collaboratively and together on building on that strong foundation that we have of the businesses and the heritage and the arts in Torbay, we can actually achieve that aim of improving the lives of many of our residents. And the Torbay story isn't just about place, but it is very much about investment in people. Yes, we're seeing a fantastic amount of regeneration coming down the line in our town centres and development of further employment spaces around the bay, but we need to make sure that we continue to build upon the story that emerged on the back of the pandemic, when our Torbay communities came together to work so strong in terms of the response, building on things like the Torbay helpline and the works of the community partnerships and all of our residents, working collaboratively with our statutory agents, with the council, because the council can't do this on its own. The only way that we can actually build upon the story that we've been listening to tonight is by working collectively and building upon the passion that we all have for the place that we live. So it's been a fantastic event tonight. It's been, as I say, inspirational. I'd like to thank the storytellers that have presented tonight and brought to life many of the elements of Torbay that, as we all run busy lives, you tend to overlook. And we need to be selling our message, not just to each other, but way beyond, to the government, to international investors, to show the strength of what Torbay is about. This is the start of a story that is just beginning, and every one of us is a co-author. So let's together make it a bestseller. Thank you and good evening.